ladies and gentlemen. You're watching, yes, the Yankees Entertainment and Sports Network.
Well, it is a cloudy, overcast, stormy evening in St. Petersburg, but lucky for us, they play baseball inside here at the Trop. And it's time for New York Yankees baseball, as tonight the Yankees face the Tampa Bay Rays in the first game of a 3-game set. Hey everybody, Ryan Rucco alongside David Cohn. Happy to be with you on this Friday night here on Yes. Well, the Yankees been playing some good baseball of late. We're going to take a look at the team scouting report. It is brought to you by Mohegan Sun. Unlimited possibilities await you at Mohegan Sun. Plan your trip at MoheganSun.com. Yankees now just 3.5 games behind the Red Sox for the second wild card, 6 out in the division. They've won 8 of their last 11 and 4 of their last 5 series, all against teams over 500. David, different case here against the Tampa team that's really struggled this season. But what's the mindset for this New York club as they get ready to play their final series before the trade deadline?
Yeah, there's lots of distractions. I've been in that boat, Ryan, and it's not an easy boat to be in. Ivan Nova certainly is going to feel that tonight with a lot of scouts watching. As a team in that clubhouse, you try to just minimalize everything and pitch well, play well, win tonight. The old Mariano Duncan from 1996. We play today, we win today, that's it. And that's the mentality you have to have in that clubhouse. As a player, that's the only way to look at it. But changes are coming. It's just a matter of how many are going to be made before this deadline.
We'll take a look at the pitching matchup, and there are 2 players that could be involved in changes. The pitching matchup brought to you by People's United Bank NA. See what know-how can do for you. Ivan Nova, Jake Odorizzi, both have been mentioned in trade rumors. Nova's been pitching very well of late, though, David.
He really has. He's gotten himself back on the radar with a lot of teams interested in Ivan Nova. The pitching market for starters very thin nowadays. Nova getting that curveball going in the month of July. Really struggled in June, but a complete turnaround. Good command of his running fastball, and really when he gets that curveball down, he gets a lot of swings and misses. The quality of it is excellent. Nova, an intriguing candidate for a lot of teams out there, and really done the job for the Yankees in the month of July.
Is Ivan Nova's manager concerned at all with his name being in trade rumors? Our Meredith Marakovitz gets that answer next. That's coming up right here on Yes.
Tropicana Field for Yankees baseball on Yes. I'm Meredith Marakovitz. As the Yankees continue to try to climb in the standings, the trade deadline is looming. One guy whose name has been heard a lot in rumors over the past couple of weeks is Ivan Nova. I caught up with Joe Girardi earlier today to ask him whether or not he thinks the chatter will affect Nova on the mound.
You always worry about that. You know, and sometimes that's the danger of following everything on the internet and Twitter and family members calling you. And but you got to be able to block it out because, you know, during the course of the career, there's going to be distractions all the time. And you got to learn to block them out. Maybe knowing that he's a free agent, knowing that it's a possibility, you know, that he could be somewhere else next year. I haven't seen a whole lot that bothers him, except when he's not pitching. So, yeah, hopefully it's one of those guys, he handles it well.
With the off day yesterday, the Yankees bullpen is in pretty good shape, but Joe Girardi did say he'll most likely stay away from Luis Severino tonight. Plenty more to come here on the Yes Network. When we get back, Ryan Ruocco will be joined by David Cohn. Lineups, first pitch baseball after the break.
Mohegan Sun. Unlimited possibilities await you at Mohegan Sun. Plan your trip at mohegansun.com. And by Volkswagen, hurry in and get a great deal during the Volkswagen Model Year End event. A stormy night in St. Petersburg, but inside at the Trop, the Yankees and Rays getting ready to play the final series before Monday's trade deadline. The Yankees have won 4 of their last 5 series. And we'll take a look at the Yankees starting lineup presented by Alexis. Brett Gardner leading off. Jacoby Ellsbury will hit second. Carlos Beltran gets another day DHing. Brian McCann has tremendous numbers against Jake Odorizzi. He bats cleanup. Mark Teixeira started to get going there in Houston. He hits 5th. Didi Gregorius will bat 6th. Starlin Castro hits 7th. Chase Headley in the 8th spot. And Rob Refsnyder getting the start in right field tonight against the righty Odorizzi. He will bat 9th.
Speaking of which, finishing up his warm-ups, Jake Odorizzi, also the subject of many trade rumors over the recent weeks, and a lot of scouts watching him as well as Ivan Nova on the season. Pretty solid. 18 home runs, a little high though. And let's go ahead and check out the pitcher scout report brought to you by your Tri-Honda dealers. And early and often, the first 2 innings have been the problem for Odorizzi this year. The early going, the first 2 innings, a 6.21 ERA, and then beyond that, he gets below 3 with his ERA, and the reverse split's a little unusual. He does have a good changeup and has more trouble with right-handed batters than lefties. Lefties hitting 199, righties 284, and make him work. He throws a lot of pitches. Only one pitcher in the major league averages more pitches per inning than Jake Odorizzi. And that would be Robbie Ray in Arizona at over 18 pitches per inning. Odorizzi just a little under 18 pitches per inning on average.
So Brett Gardner will be the first Yankee to face Odorizzi. Odorizzi went 8 shutout innings in his last start, and Gardner flicks that one foul down the left field line. Joe Girardi has called this time of year, these games, our playoffs. Made that very clear before the game. That the postseason has already started for the Yankees due to the hole they dug, and they have played very well of late as Gardner skies that to second. Forsythe is under it, and we'll put it away for the first out. We'll take a look at the defense presented by Geico. Across the outfield for Tampa Bay, Brandon Guyer, the Platinum Glover, Kevin Kiermaier in center, Steven Souza Jr. in right, Evan Longoria, Brad Miller, Logan Forsythe, and Steve Pearce across the infield, with Luke Maile, the rookie, catching Jake Odorizzi. Ellsbury looks at strike one. Swing and a miss.
Odorizzi, not a real power guy in terms of velocity, but good life, good running action, and up it kind of sails. It's about spin rate, you know, life on your fastball, the difference between velocity and life. And nowadays we can measure that. And, you know, back in the day we used to just talk about it. Spin rate, a big category nowadays.
Well, we've seen different pitchers who didn't have the traditional results acquired because scouts saw something in their spin rate and thought they could turn it into something. The Astros, that was one of the things that drew them to Dallas Keuchel. The 1-2, fouled straight back.
Probably the best example I can give of that was a guy named Sid Fernandez back on the Mets in the 80s, and he averaged kind of like Odorizzi, 88 to 91 miles an hour, but the life on his fastball up in the zone was remarkable, and a lot of swings and misses. Odorizzi very successful with his fastball, even though he's about average velocity wise.
1-2 is in the dirt. Rays starters have pitched very well lately. Their last time through the rotation, they pitched to a 1.05 ERA, but went just 1-4 as Tampa scored just 10 runs over those 5 games. The 2-2 chopped up the middle. It will make its way through for a base hit, and Ellsbury is on. Let's take a look at the game time weather presented by Bigelow Tea. It's always somewhat predictable here inside the Trop. But outside, it's cloudy and muggy. Inside, it's cool under the dome. I see you already have the sleeves rolled up, David. It's nice in here.
But it goes to show you, absolutely, you do need a dome in Florida.
You do, yeah.
It's a must-have.
Well, Meredith Marakovits and I got caught in that before the start of this game, that being thunderous rain. There's Carlos Beltran, smashes that to left field, and the Yankees have 2 on with 1 out here in the first.
Well, this one's going to make my dad and my mom very happy, Ryan. Hit the ball the other way against the shift. There you go, right there, where the shortstop usually plays. There he is. Look, it's wide open. Why don't you do this? And of course, Beltran just did. And the Yankees got a little action here in the first inning.
Well, Beltran has done it with such regularity. And David, if a hitter as accomplished as him, with the kind of power that he has, can do it and sort of swallow his pride and do it, then who can't, right? Here's Brian McCann, who has shown a penchant for trying to do that as well. Good swing, fouls it right back. McCann has beefy numbers against Jake Odorizzi. Has really slugged against him in his career. 12 for 23, a .522 average with 3 home runs and 7 extra base hits. Odorizzi delivers outside, ball 1.
You know, something's got to give here. You know, the Yankees really struggled scoring runs in the first inning. Had a long streak over 20 games where they didn't score in the first. And of course, Odorizzi, the pitcher, struggles in the first 2 innings. So if the Yankees are going to get hot or continue this hot streak, early and often is a good formula for them.
The 1-1. Check swing fouled at the plate by McCann. And the Yankees offense has not been the reason for their recent hot streak. And since the All-Star break, the Yankees are scoring just over 3 runs a game. That's lower than their average from the first half of the year. It's been the outstanding pitching that has guided them to this surge. But 2 on to begin things here in the first. The 1-2. Fouled away. Jake Odorizzi's name has been floated in trade rumors. If you are a Rays starter, your name has been in different trade rumors. McCann looks at strike 3, 2 down.
We see McCann gets frozen on this backdoor cutter at 86 miles an hour. Gets the call from Laz Diaz. As you see, the ball was clearly high enough from the side angle there. Not the best frame work from behind the plate there, but a good pitch from Odorizzi.
It was an aggressive, quick uptick of the glove from Luke Maile. First and second now with 2 outs for Teixeira, who takes a high strike. 0-1. We saw Teixeira go the other way a few times against the shift in Houston the last couple games of that series. And this time he wraps it to center, but right at Kiermaier, who has to flop forward to catch that knuckleball for the final out of the first. So the Yankees threaten but do not score. Kiermaier hangs with it and tucks it home. Ivan Nova takes the hill next. Starting lineup for the Tampa Bay Rays. Logan Forsythe will lead off. Second baseman, the shortstop Brad Miller having a good power year, hits second. Evan Longoria having a tremendous year, and you see his career numbers against the Yankees. He bats third. Corey Dickerson will clean up. Steve Pearce also could be on the move. He bats fifth. Kevin Kiermaier hitting sixth. Steven Souza Jr. Kiermaier and Jr. have been injured this year. He'll bat seventh. Brandon Guyer in the eighth spot, and the rookie Luke Maile will hit ninth.
See, Ivan Nova finished up his warm-up tosses and is ready to go. Big start for Ivan Nova, and you see on the season, a little bit of a mixed bag, much better as of late. As we've said, only 22 walks, though, in 93 innings. And let's go ahead and check out the pitcher scouting report brought to you by Tri-Honda dealer. I mean, Meredith Marakovits talked about it. This is a showcase start for him. A lot of scouts, a lot of interest. Part of that is because he has been so solid in July, as we covered in our pregame as well. And then, of course, pounding righties. That's been interesting to me. Pretty even splits over his career for Nova, but been dominating right-handed batters lately.
And delivers outside, ball 1.
Just 6 for 47 over his last 5 starts. A 128 batting average against from right-handed batters against Nova.
Why do you think that is, David?
He's really gotten his curveball going. He's got a great two-seam fastball that runs in. He pounds the right-handed batters on the inside corner. And then when he gets a feel for his curveball, that's a 1-2 punch that's really served him well.
That is cranked and gone. 1-0 Tampa. Tenth home run of the year for Logan Forsythe, and not the beginning that Ivan Nova was hoping for.
Right on cue, right? We talk about domination of right-handed batters, and Logan Forsythe is so quick on fastballs on the inner half. You see, this is supposed to be down and away, and that ends up middle in the wheelhouse, and you can just tell by the sound off the bat that that was well struck, and 1 point on the board already for the Rays.
Swinging at the first pitch, Brad Miller skies that foul. Well, if you want an encouraging sign, is to see a non-encouraging sign, the location of that 2-0 pitch from Ivan Nova.
Just slightly right of center, middle. Not sure McCann's setting up down the middle as well on that two-seam fastball.
That's chopped to third. Headley picks the hop. 1 down. Take a look at the Yankees defense presented by Geico. In the outfield, Brett Gardner, Jacoby Ellsbury, Rob Refsnyder getting the start in right. Chase Headley, Didi Gregorius, Starlin Castro, Mark Teixeira across the infield. Brian McCann catching Ivan Nova. Now, the encouraging sign I was alluding to, David, is the Yankees in their 2 wins against the Astros did give up home runs to either the first or second batter of the game.
Well, the solo shots, right? The catfish hunter theory.
That's right.
The Yankee fans of yesterday will remember that. Nova actually pretty adept at that as well, with 14 of his 17 were solo coming into this game.
And for Logan Forsythe, that was his first career leadoff home run. Longoria turns on that foul. He is having a tremendous season. The power numbers back for Longoria, already 23 home runs, more than he had either of the last 2 seasons. He was a guy who was all-star worthy. Was one of the 5 players you could vote on in the American League, but came up woefully short in that vote.
I think that's the ultimate question for the Rays now that they find themselves in the cellar. Is now the right time to sell on Evan Longoria? Such a tough decision for the face of the franchise, but his value has never been higher right now.
Swing and a miss. Nova retires him for the second out. Well, Longoria is under control for a while as well. Next year starts the first year of a 6-year, $99 million extension he had signed a few years ago, which, based on his production, is a very reasonable number. Not one that would scare teams off, but in fact maybe lure them in.
Yeah, absolutely, especially considering the fact that he's such a good defender at third as well. So 2 ways: offensively, home run pop, and a great glove at third.
Here's Corey Dickerson, has some pop, 14 homers on the year, looks at strike 1. Hits guy to right. Back goes Ref Snyder. He's going to run out of room. 2-0 Tampa Bay as Dickerson goes yard for the 15th time this year. Well, this time it was a lefty.
Well, he hits the target. You see McCann wants it up and in, and give Dickerson credit. He just beat him to the spot. He's so strong, Dickerson is. He just fights that off and gets enough of it to carry on out of here.
Strike one to Steve Pearce. So Ivan Nova in what you termed in the scouting report as a showcase start.
See, that's on the inside corner right at the belt, so maybe a little bit in and a little bit more up, but not a bad pitch.
2 home runs allowed now for Nova in this first inning. Now, we heard Joe Girardi tell Meredith Marakovits there would be a little concern about Nova tonight, given all the rumors, especially since he's expressed that he does not want to go anywhere.
Well, part of the reason is obvious. Nova's going to be a free agent.
Yep.
Probably not a candidate for a qualifying offer, as the qualifying offer for free agents next year is going to be estimated between 16 and 17 million per year. So Nova's not going to be in that category. So chances are he's going to be somewhere else pitching next year. Usually the reason for major league teams to keep players that are in their free agent year is to get a draft pick potentially.
Well, Nova fans, Pearce ends the inning, but not before Logan Forsythe and Corey Dickerson go yard. When those 2 balls land, 2-0 Rays. RAV4 Hybrid is the official hybrid vehicle of the Yankees. We're talking about, should Evan Longoria be traded? Well, that's the question. At Yes Network tweeting out, should the Rays consider trading Evan Longoria before Monday's non-waiver trading deadline? And SM Dolan says, yes, the Rays are done this year. They might get some young, worthwhile players for Longo. Follow Yes Network and tweet us your responses using hashtag YankeesRAV4 Hybrid to keep the conversation going. And David, you brought up the best point, I think, about why now. Because the Rays have control over him for the next 6 years at a reasonable price. It's not like there's urgency to move him now. But as Gregorius looks at ball 2, he's playing better than he has in years. And is this going to continue, or is this a chance to get peak value for Longoria?
And that's a decision that doesn't necessarily have to be made because the trade deadline's here. It's a deal that could be worked out in the offseason as well when you have more time to develop it. But without a doubt, Evan Longoria would look really good in a Dodgers uniform if you're a Dodgers fan right now.
From the area as well.
Not so good if you're a Rays fan, obviously, and he is obviously so valuable in this community and really entrenched down here. He's not only the face of the franchise on and off the field.
The 2-2 to Gregorius. That's driven in the air to right center field. Kiermaier will track it for the first out. The Rays just 39-61 on the season. They were 20-20 when Kevin Kiermaier went down, and that was in the middle of a rash of injuries to the outfield for the Rays specifically, and everything sort of snowballed from there. Pitching has started to come around of late, but they have been losing some tight games. Recently lost 4 straight one-run games before beating the Dodgers on Wednesday. Castro looks at strike 2.
Rays have always kind of been behind the 8 ball on this tough American League Eastern Division. I mean, it's always been the beast of the East, the American League East, and people thought last year maybe the trend was changing, but this year, once again, 4 teams over 500 in the American League East and then the Rays, so the unbalanced schedule just beats them up night in and night out. I think that's part of the hope for the Yankees too as well, with the trend of the scheduling this year. A lot of head-to-head competition against teams that are ahead of them in their own division, and there's no other division in baseball that has 4 teams over 500. The American League East is the only one, and there sit the Rays at 39-61.
Swing and a miss. Castro down swinging.
Life up in the zone above the belt, as Castro cannot hold off. The ability to pitch at the top of the strike zone or just above the strike zone, really key for Odorizzi, doing a very good job of it so far.
A good breaking ball for a strike there to start Headley off 0-1. Headley's numbers very respectable now after that incredibly poor start. About the second week of May, found his rhythm, and since then has an OPS just under 800, which is very good. Fights that off foul.
Yeah, it's been a great turnaround for Headley offensively, and such a slow start. I mean, tremendously slow start for Headley offensively, but defensively he's been solid all year long. Plays a very good third base.
That was something he committed to in the offseason after the year he had last year, where he struggled uncharacteristically on the defensive end. The 1-2 from Odorizzi. Just missed in, maybe a little up. It's 2-2.
Just off.
Headley, nice looking swing. Stays 2-2. Headley tips it into the glove. Maile holds on in a 1-2-3 inning for Jake Odorizzi. 2 strikeouts in the frame. Facts brought to you by Clean Crisp Coors Light. Well, a year ago yesterday, the Yankees acquired David Cone. 21 years ago yesterday, the Yankees acquired David Cone. Feels like just a year, though, right, David?
Wow,
because
I wish.
21 years ago today, you made your first start against Minnesota.
I remember, yes. What a great day that was for me to come back and pitch for the Yankees. And I was so ready to come back to New York, right, after spending 6 years with the Mets and then Kansas City and Toronto, and then got a dream come true to finally get a chance to pitch for the Yanks.
It worked out well for all parties. You delivered that first start. 8 innings, 2 runs, 9 strikeouts, and 123 pitches then. That was nothing.
Yeah, that was below average back then. Well, you know, we've seen with Joe Girardi handling his pitching staff is rarely does he let his starters go past 100 pitches nowadays. So clearly by design. I don't know if I could pitch in today's game, Ryan. I mean, I needed 130 pitches. You saw a little bit of everything. 4 walks, strikeouts.
It's popped into shallow left. Gregorius out behind short will make the catch. Yeah. Do you remember your high?
Yes, 166 pitches in one game, yeah.
Man.
You know, it was just the way it was. You were expected to go dying. You were expected to finish what you started. You know, and obviously things have changed quite a bit in today's game. And that's not an indictment, good or bad or ugly. It is what it is now, and pitchers are so valuable. Organizations try to protect them. It was just different back then.
And I wonder, at that time, did you even think, oh, you know, this is a lot? Like when you hit 130, did you say, this is starting to push it?
No, not really. We were conditioned otherwise. I think that's part of the problem now is the conditioning. Pitchers kind of look at the pitch count and they know that they're coming up against the, you know, the end of the road, so to speak, at around 100 pitches. So the ability to finish strong in starts is something that is not being taught as well.
You also now, in every ballpark, you have pitch count on the scoreboard. I mean, were you acutely aware of your pitch count every start?
No, I did not know. Did not have a clue as to how many pitches we had. In fact, our pitching coaches would not tell us.
Ooh.
They didn't want us to know.
Chop to Gregorius. 2 down. It's almost like the trainer who doesn't give you the number of reps. He just wants you to go till you drop.
That was the mentality back then.
But Ivan Nova is aware that he has thrown 15 of his 21 pitches for strikes. And everyone in the ballpark knows it. Nova gave up 2 solo home runs in the first, one to Forsythe to begin things, and then Corey Dickerson went yard as well. There's Brandon Guyer hitting in the 8-hole. That's high. Now Guyer gets a chance to start and maybe somewhat regularly here, along with Steven Souza Jr. with Kiermaier in the outfield, because Oswaldo Arcia, who the Rays had picked up from Minnesota, just went on the DL today. And that's going to hit Guyer. He will be on with 2 outs.
Almost takes one for the team and a little ricochet effect.
David, that's what Brandon Guyer does. His numbers getting hit by pitches are unbelievable. Led the league last year, and this year he's leading the league is 23 hit by pitches already.
You could see he just does not give an inch, almost leans into it a bit.
Now the record for most hit by pitches in a season, Ron Hunt with 50 back in 1971. But here's the funny thing, David. We saw him basically not move there. And you know, his 20 before the All-Star break this year were the second most in AL history before the All-Star break. Only Don Baylor had more. But, you know, we see him, look, he leans in and he swears. He will never say that he tries to get hit. He always acts like he's perplexed why he gets hit. And now he takes off and steals second easily.
Off and running, and Nova not particularly quick to home plate. And McCann with no chance, so eats it.
There have been many a reporter who has tried to approach Brandon Guyer and get that story. Like, why are you so proficient at getting hit by pitches? And he always claims innocence.
It's probably a good thing to do, but you can see a little rerouting of his leg there once he noticed it was coming towards him. Got it back in the way.
Nova behind 3-0 to the rookie Maley. And he walked him. And that'll bring up Logan Forsythe, who went deep back in the first.
Number 11, Logan Forsythe.
See a little bit of a letdown from Nova after the hit batter and then the stolen base, not paying attention, and then a quick walk here. Now with 2 outs, first and second.
Nice stop there by McCann to keep that in front.
Yeah, you can't get over and block this in a traditional sense. I mean, that's in the other batter's box, and we've seen McCann make incredible picks. But this is just skill set working for McCann. Is no way you have time to even get over there and try to smother that a normal way.
The 1-0 on the inside corner, 1-1. Nova been tough in these spots this season, holding opponents to a 146 batting average with 2 outs and runners in scoring position. The 1-1. Check swing. Forsythe held up, 2-1.
Close. Ooh. Right on the borderline. I mean, that could have gone either way. But I'm a pitcher, so I'm a little biased with that regard as far as check swings from hitters go.
I think you're fair in that assessment. That was close. Looped down the right field line. Refsnyder racing over, will not get there. It's just strike two. Von Nova trying to hold things right here. I mentioned before how good the Rays pitching has been lately. Don't want to dig too much of a hole against that staff. The 2-2. Another nice stop by McCann, and the count is full.
Well, you're right, Ryan. This is a quick turnaround here in the second inning. Very important part of the game for Nova. He had 2 quick outs and a chance to have a quick inning, and now all of a sudden, pitch number 34 on the way. Trying to get out of this on a 3-2 count.
With the runners moving with 2 outs and the full count, Nova delivers, and we'll do it again. Dyer would have no problem scoring from second on a base hit with 2 outs anyway, but Maley, the catcher, does not run particularly well, and he is helped by being off with the pitch. Should Forsythe find a gap. The 3-2. Poke to right. Refsnyder a few steps over, and Nova gets out of it. The Rays threaten, don't score. To the third we go. 2-0 Tampa Bay. No decisions. Jake Odorizzi is the leader with 12 of them, and right behind him, Masahiro Tanaka with 11 no decisions. Odorizzi with a 2-0 lead here in the top of the third, and delivers strike one to Rob Refsnyder. Now, part of the reason for Odorizzi's no decisions is a lack of length. He's failed to get through 6 innings in 12 of his 21 starts. But sharp early and ahead of Refsnyder 0-2. Now, David mentioned it in the scouting report, but Odorizzi has reverse splits. So if you're wondering, well, why is Refsnyder, the righty, getting the chance tonight against the righty Odorizzi? That's why. He has allowed righties to hit .284 this year with a strong .809 OPS, and lefties have hit .199 with a paltry .615 OPS.
And normally you would see Alex Rodriguez also in the lineup, but Beltran DH now.
Joe Girardi was asked before the game whether or not he gave any thought to putting A-Rod in the lineup tonight. And Joe said, yeah, I thought about it, but decided to go this way and give Refsnyder the crack at Odorizzi. As Refsnyder looks at ball 2. Rolled slowly to third. Longoria knows he has no play, and Refsnyder reaches on an infield single. Now, Meredith, Joe Girardi said he gave thought to Alex Rodriguez playing today because of the reverse splits, decided not to. And then, of course, the natural follow-up is, well, when is Alex Rodriguez going to get in the lineup?
And that's the million-dollar question right now. There are 2 lefties coming up this series, so you expect he'll play one, if not both of those days. But Joe Girardi still non-committal exactly when he'll be in that lineup. And Alex Rodriguez has not been in the lineup in 6 straight games. He has not had an at-bat since July 22nd, although Rodriguez remains optimistic. He was at George Steinbrenner Field working on his swing today in the cage. He was here earlier. The experiment at first base, not yet over. He was taking some grounders at first, trying to figure out ways to get himself back in that lineup. But guys, it's hard to turn things around when you're not getting consistent at-bats or really any at-bats.
And the tough thing here, even though they're facing the lefties, Meredith, would be the turf and the hesitancy to have Carlos Beltran in right field out here.
And that's 100% it. It's so much less about Alex Rodriguez, more about Carlos Beltran, keeping him in the lineup and making sure he makes it through the season. And Joe Girardi really does not like to play Beltran on turf 3 days in a row, or really at all anymore at this stage of game in his career. And unfortunately for Alex Rodriguez, he really doesn't have a position in the field that he can play. They feel like Carlos Beltran is better served as a DH with some occasional right field play. So he's just the odd man out right now.
Yeah. That's a tough thing, David, is Carlos Beltran's bat has to be in that lineup. So for Alex Rodriguez, that's a hard object to move. Nice pick there at short from Miller. Can't start the double play as Gardner beats it, but a nifty backhand spin from Brad Miller.
Yeah, well struck off the bat of Gardner. You see Miller, not much time to react, but does it well. But not enough time to double up the speedy Gardner, but excellent play from Miller. Forsythe gets rid of it. Gardner's just too fast.
So Gardner on with 1 out, and Jacoby Ellsbury up. Singled in his first at bat, a chopper up the middle. And fouls that off of Laz Diaz, the home plate umpire, and that is going to take a little bit of a walk to shake off. And Luke Maile immediately ran out to the mound to make sure he gives Laz Diaz some time.
Yeah, looks like it may be on the right knee on the inside.
Diaz okay. Odorizzi ahead 0-1 on Ellsbury. Gardner dives back. And that's a balk. Gardner's going to get second. Odorizzi called for the balk. And both second base umpire Jeff Nelson and first base umpire Corey Blazer were on it.
Odorizzi doesn't like the call. I think it's more of a hop than rather a step. You're supposed to step to first. And maybe a little bit of flinch in his back leg. Check out his back leg. You're supposed to pivot and not jump. You can see there was a little bit of a flinch with the back leg, and instead of a pivot, there's kind of a jump. And technically, by the rules, you're not supposed to flinch your back leg because that'd be deceiving the runner, and you're supposed to pivot as opposed to jump.
That's a nice pickup, though, by Jeff Nelson and Corey Blazer. They were both on it.
It's a call that's rarely made. A lot of pitchers, in trying to quicken up their pickoff move, will do very similar things that we just saw from Odorizzi. Rarely is it called. That's why Odorizzi didn't like it.
So the Yankees now with the runner in scoring position for Ellsbury with one out. And that is not going to get him in. Popped right to Miller, 2 down.
I'll say this, Ryan. I mean, the balk rule is obscure as it is.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of ambiguity with relation to trying to interpret a balk. That's one rule I think probably should be revisited. Technical little ticky-tack calls like that on balks serve no purpose. There was no purpose to call that balk right there. I mean, you talk about a ticky-tacky call. I mean,
it's very hard to discern. In the bottom left, you'll see Jeff Nelson, the ump, who immediately reacts. He's looking. Beltran a chance to drive in to run with 2 outs. Takes ball 1.
I think between the ball call and the check swing that we saw earlier, those are my 2 pet peeves. So
there's not a pattern of consistency in the calls for either.
None whatsoever. So I'd be a fan of just eliminating the balk altogether.
Beltran skies that. Behind second, Forsythe will put it away, and the Yankees leave Gardner stranded at second. We go to the bottom of the third, 2-0 Rays. Tonight's injury report brought to you by Montefiore, doing more in state-of-the-art healthcare. Logan Morrison placed on the DL today with a strained forearm. He's done some damage with the 10 home runs. Made an outstanding catch in LA on Wednesday against the Dodgers, where he tumbled into the stands, and perhaps that did not help what was already a balky forearm. Here's the catch. This was from Wednesday afternoon in Los Angeles, and it was outstanding. Had to deal with the sun and then had to deal with the seats. But he stuck the landing and held on.
Might have to replace that Velcro padding there with something a little more permanent.
Yeah, it had a decent amount of give there. When it comes tumbling off as soon as it's touched, it's probably not ideal. Miller looks at ball one. What's the key for Nova settling down, David? A little bit of a rough first couple innings.
Yeah, you know, Nova, when he gets going, he can glide through some innings. A lot of ground balls. His ground ball rate still among the league leaders all year long.
As Miller wraps that to right center field, that ball is going to be one hop off the top of the wall. Miller is going for three. Gregorius won't even chance it. A triple to lead things off in the second.
Well, there's a lot of room in the gaps here, and another reason why Girardi doesn't want Beltran playing right field here in Tampa. And you can see here on the hop, almost gets into the stands, but off the yellow line, right there. Great camera work by our crew, and at this point, Miller's already rounded second, is going to easily get into third, as you see, never hesitating, and this is what you call sliding into third with a stand-up triple. So Miller easily gets there.
And begins the third inning with that triple. Nova again having to work with men on base. Longoria struck out in the first. The numbers outstanding on the year. Take a look at a Jeep Hitters scouting report for Evan Longoria.
Well, he is coveted by many. We've covered it. Meredith and Rockovitz covered it. Our pregame about how many teams would love to have this guy at third base right now. And his career pace, home runs, extra base hits, fielding percentage, all career best in terms of a pace so far. And how do you trade the face of the franchise, though? I mean, you got to be blown away by the deal if you do pull the trigger.
You walk around the Trop, all of the signage, he is everywhere here.
You know, it's easy to say sell, sell, sell. And Yankee fans have heard that. It's, you know, obviously been popular. But you got to sell for the right price. It's not just sell to sell. You have to get the right package.
Another nice scoop by McCann.
I mean, the degree of difficulty on some of these pitches from Nova for McCann are off the charts. I mean, tremendous handwork, glove work from McCann. There's no way you can block those pitches. They're in the other batter's box, and they're curveballs with a lot of spin.
Doesn't even attempt to throw the body. He knows that's all arms. And that's just off. 3-1. And now a dangerous pitch here from Ivan Nova.
See, Laz Diaz, the home plate umpire, getting a little grief from the Yankee dugout as that pitch was a strike. And umpires are human too.
The 3-1 is high, ball 4, 2 on with none out.
Well, previously you see right to the glove. I mean, that's where you're taught to throw the baseball. On the corner, at the knees. Yankees certainly wanted that pitch, as did Nova. You know, actually, I think it's interesting now. Joe Torre and Major League Baseball sent out sort of a mandate to a lot of the dugouts to stop arguing these balls and strike calls, especially with the ability to see them on video so quickly nowadays and instant replay. And a lot of managers were going to the video to question the strike zone, and that, you know, that's a little over the top according to Major League Baseball, and I have to agree with that. I mean, the umpires are human. It's still a judgment call, balls and strikes, at least for now. It is, until they adopt a different system, which is a whole nother conversation.
There is more momentum, conversationally at least, behind automation than ever before. One 1-0 on Corey Dickerson, who clubbed his 15th home run of the year back in the first. A towering shot to right. First and third, nobody out. Nova delivers ball 2. 2-0. Big swing and a miss. 2-1.
Dickerson swings hard. He's got some pop. This one's above the belt. If you remember, the home run was almost just a little bit lower. This is the key at the top of the strike zone. You can see that's just above the belt, which is a big difference between at the belt or just lower.
Here's the 2-1. Grounded to second. Could be two. Soft toss to short. And then the throw goes off to Scherrer's glove. Dickerson's going to dig for second, and he will make it. The run scores. It's 3-0 Tampa Bay, and Dickerson ends up on second after the Yankees blow the chance to turn two.
Yeah, this is tailor-made. You can see the backhanded flip from Castro. Kind of maybe threw Gregorius' timing off just a bit, but shouldn't have, as there was plenty of time to turn it, and it's just wide and high from Gregorius, who rarely makes a bad throw. He's been, as we've seen, so accurate with his throwing arm and strength. So a rare miscue on the throwing side from Gregorius, and then on the end of the play, well, a little closer than we thought at first glance. Dickerson not known for his speed and kind of stuck in the mud on a slide.
Instead of the run in, but 2 outs and nobody on, just 1 out now and a runner in scoring position for Steve Pearce, who fouls that off. It did feel like, David, the toss was abnormally soft from Starlin Castro. Maybe what you said, it threw off the timing of Didi just enough.
Yeah, it's possible. You know, it's a quick decision for a second baseman. When you're that far away, do you go ahead and pivot and throw sidearm, or do you try to do that backwards underhand flip?
That's off. 1-1. Steve Pearce, a name that has been linked with the Indians, among other teams, seeking a bat. He has really raked against left-handed pitching, and there against a righty because of the Logan Morrison injury. 2-1. Pearce a free agent to be, and owed just $1.8 million for the rest of this season. He also is a versatile guy. Over the last 2 years has played first, second, third, left, and right field. So you can see why the team in it would be interested in adding. 3-1.
Pearce kind of falls into that category of the kind of the under the radar moves that you see around the trade deadline that could really make a difference for a team in contention. You know, a right-handed bat that hits left-handed pitching very well. First base, third base, a little bit of outfield.
His OPS against lefties this year is over 1,100. And he has really destroyed left-handed pitching. Payoff from Nova. Another nice stop by McCann on ball 4, and Pearce is on. And here comes Larry Rothschild. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the New York Yankees and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the New York Yankees. Well, Livan Nova already has given up a couple of home runs, 3 walks, and a hit batter in what could be his final start as a Yankee, as a looming free agent. And with many a scout in the stands today, taking a look at Nova, wondering if he could be a helpful piece to certain rotations.
Certainly not an indictment on Ivan Nova. It's the circumstances that he finds himself in as a free agent and not going to be receiving a qualifying offer in the offseason. So he's in a position, certainly from the Yankee standpoint, to try to maximize his value and get something in return for him, as opposed to just let him walk away at the end of the season for nothing.
Especially when you have Luis Severino, Chad Green, and Adam Warren. There are options, and speaking of one of them, Chad Green warming right now. Kiermaier either went around or it's on the call. Either way, it's 1-1.
See here with 1 out and already 55 pitches. Girardi can't let this go any further. The Yanks have a little bit of momentum here. It's a big series on the weekend.
Lifted to left. Gardner starts to drift, settles under, and will fire in. Good throw to third. And holding on at second was Dickerson. 2 down. You said it, David. This is a series that, like any at this point in the season, Joe Girardi talked about this being the Yankees' playoffs as they continue to build momentum and try and climb the standings. But it also is one that maybe is going to be used to give some clarity to the organization as to how they handle Monday's trade deadline. And the Yankees trying to make that playoff push and make it an even harder decision.
Well, obviously they cannot like what they've seen so far. Nova very inconsistent to this point and really needs to get out of this inning without further damage.
And time called by Laz Diaz, as Nova had already started the motion, so he followed through with it.
Girardi not happy with it. I was on the mound. I wouldn't be happy either. I mean, that was a late call from Laz Diaz. You do not have to grant the hitter a timeout. It wasn't as if Nova was taking a long time either.
On the inside corner. 0-2. Let's see Joe Girardi's reaction when that happened. Yeah, not thrilled. The 0-2. He went around, strike 3. Souza Jr. is down on strikes, and Nova escapes further trouble. But the Rays do push another run across. They lead 3-0 after 3. Taking a look at the greater coverage of baseball brought to you by T-Mobile. Well, Eduardo Nunez, the former Yankee, had an all-star season with the Twins and now a member of the San Francisco Giants. And the Marlins acquired a couple of pitchers from the Padres, Andrew Cashner and Colin Ray. So Miami, they are going for it. The acquisitions of Cashner and Ray, trying to boost that rotation as they try and hold off the Mets and others in the NL wildcard picture. On the Audi A3 scoreboard, Tampa Bay, the 3-0 lead.
Donnie Baseball down in Miami, having a good year managing down there after all the grief he got for the Dodgers at the end of last year.
And they just got back their second baseman, D. Gordon, who was a Gold Glove winning batting champ last year. As McCann swings through another 2-2. You see the shift on for McCann, leaves the left side vacated. The 2-2, swing and a miss. McCann down on strikes in his first 2 at-bats against Odorizzi, who he has outstanding numbers against.
Well, Odorizzi's really owned the top of the strike zone, as you see in above. Almost letter high with that, as several Yankee players have swung right through similar type fastballs. This one letter high.
Here's Mark Teixeira, lined out to center with 2 on in the first. That was the Yankees' best chance to score. They had 2 on with 1 out. McCann struck out, and then Teixeira hit a knuckleball that Kiermaier hung with in center for the out. A 1-1.
If they're going to swing at it, you got to keep throwing it there. And all these pitches are up and just out of the zone high. Teixeira threw 2 straight fastballs at the letters. You kind of get the feeling, you hope that Nathan Eovaldi's watching this with his 98-mile-an-hour fastball, because that's the top of the strike zone that you need to attack consistently.
Something Joe Girardi mentioned, Michael Pineda has done better over his last few starts as well.
And both Pineda and Eovaldi would be served very well to exploit that part of the strike zone a little more often.
The 1-2 went up there again, that time a little bit higher. Teixeira laid off.
And you have to throw just enough strikes at the top of the zone and then go up the ladder from there. But Yankee hitters showing all night long so far that they're willing to swing at it.
Teixeira grounds that right into the teeth of the shift. 2 outs. And there's Didi Gregorius, flew out to center in his first at bat. Now Odorizzi, for a guy who throws a lot of pitches per inning normally. Number you mentioned in the scouting report, only Robbie Ray of Arizona throws more. He's had a nice rhythm to him on the mound so far tonight.
He really has, and he got through the trouble spot for him, which is the first 2 innings.
His ERA falls off the table after the first 2 innings. Two and 0.
Odorizzi very solid last year. Pitched much deeper into the games. This year struggled early in games, but been very solid here tonight so far against this Yankee lineup. You know, we mentioned earlier in the first 2 innings, a little under 7 is his ERA, and then beyond that a little under 3. So a tale of 2 pitchers.
2-2 on Gregorius.
But Odorizzi, a young starter with a lot of value, and that's not somebody necessarily that the Rays have to trade. They need the right package before they'll give up Odorizzi right now, because he would fit in nicely. Probably a 3-starter for a lot of teams out there in contention.
Under control for a few more years. And he has said he cannot wait for the trade deadline to come and go on Monday, because he wants to keep this group together. Says, I know what our record is, but I feel like we really have a great team and a great staff. The 2-2. Looped behind third. Longoria will get there to end the inning. The Yankees go quietly in the top of the 4th. Odorizzi keeps dealing. On Friday, August 5th, for the Yankees' first ever Star Wars night. There will be a special Star Wars theme throughout the night and appearances by some of your favorite Star Wars characters. In addition, the first 18,000 guests in attendance will receive a special R2-D2 Yankees Nick cap. For tickets, log on to Yankees.com. Visit the Yankees Stadium ticket window, Yankees Clubhouse shops, or call Ticketmaster at 877-469-9849. I'm a huge Star Wars fan, David. On the Audi scoreboard, Tampa Bay with the 3-0 lead. Did you see episode 7?
No, I did not.
Well, that is your loss, my friend. You need to get on that. Then we could both be jazzed up about August 5th at the stadium together. Gregorius gets a cookie hop. 1 away.
Still trying to recover from Carrie Fisher back in the 70s. So
she's in episode 7.
Yes, I know she is.
It's a different hairdo, but she's there. You know, Jeff Quagliata, our head of research at the YES Network, is the biggest Star Wars maven I've ever met in my life. And he's chronicled as such in internet forums, I feel. So I'm sure he'll be there August 5th supporting.
There is something about the dark side that kind of attracts me, that's for sure.
Maile keeps that fair. Headley the long throw in time for the second out. And this is the Ivan Nova that the Yankees like to see. A couple of quick ground balls.
You know, this start is almost a microcosm of Ivan Nova's Yankee career. At times, boy, he can breeze and look extremely good, and at other times he struggles and loses it.
Tonight's pitch count brought to you by the Acura Summer of Performance event. Von Nova trying to shrink that number in this inning. Just 5 pitches so far, 2 outs and an 0-1 count. Hammered, what a scoop by Headley. That had fire on it, and Teixeira scoops on the other end. Beautifully done, 5-3 to end the frame. Keep the glove down, pick it, and let Teixeira get a little leather love on the other end. Inning over. On the Cadillac scoreboard, Tampa Bay the 3-0 lead here in the top of the 5th. Lucky for Bob, Encarnacion hits a lot of home runs.
That's right.
Keeps him busy.
He's a good player. In fact, a lot of people that follow the Blue Jays day in and day out say if it was a matter of Encarnacion or Bautista, they'd pick Encarnacion if they had to choose between the two.
I'm not sure Encarnacion has declared his market already either, the way that Bautista did before the year. With his $30 million a year desire.
Yes, he's going to get a chance to test free agency.
That's right. I believe he'll be 35 this offseason. Big swing from Castro. It's 2-2. That's off, a little down. Count full on Castro. The Yankees have managed just 3 singles thus far. Their biggest threat came in the first, but Odorizzi worked out of trouble. Rolled to short. Easy for Miller. 1 down. Let's check back in the studio with Bob Lorenz. Thank you, Bob. Taking a look at the standings brought to you by Mazda Driving Matters. The Tigers, one of those teams ahead of the Yankees in the AL wildcard picture. So Yankees fans not going to be fans of that 7-run frame that Detroit put up. The Astros and Tigers trailing the Blue Jays and Red Sox, and the Yankees and Mariners. Mariners lost today.
Tigers are a dangerous team offensively. Miguel Cabrera is still Miguel Cabrera. Their offensive output is one of the toughest in the American League. It's always been about pitching in the bullpen.
Headley whacks that to center. Kiermaier twisting will make the catch on the track, backpedaling for the second out.
Well, we've noted that Kiermaier is one of the best in the business in center field, and even if he does get turned around, he goes to the right spot. If it stays in the ballpark, more times than not, he's going to get it.
Not just a Gold Glove winner last year, he was the American League's Platinum Glove winner. And that's why, David, a lot of people pointed to his loss as part of the reason for why Tampa took the nosedive that they did when he went on the DL. They went from a 500 team to well below, and he saves a lot of runs.
It's a great point, Ryan. And, you know, some of the pitching numbers have fallen off. Chris Archer, for one. Part of that is defense and support. They just didn't get what they thought they were going to get from their pitching as well. Defense a big part of that equation.
Pierce showing off some D. The basket catch to end the inning. The Yankees go down 1-2-3, and Odorizzi has retired 9 straight. Bottom of the 5th inning in Tampa Bay. On the Cadillac scoreboard, the Rays with a 3-0 lead over the Yankees. Von Nova surrendered a leadoff home run to Logan Forsythe in the first, and then Corey Dickerson went yard as well. Rays scraped across another in the 3rd. And Jake Odorizzi has shut down the Yankees through their first 5 frames. Brad Miller tripled and scored in the 3rd. And looks at strike 1. Von Nova had his best frame in the 4th, a 6-pitch 1-2-3 inning with 3 ground balls. Pushes Miller off the plate. That's smashed to left. Gardner's going to have to hurry to cut it off. Slides and does. Miller going for 2 anyway, and he's there with a double.
Well, this is hitting it where it's pitched. It's almost off the plate, and Miller goes right with it. A good hard line drive. And on the other end, Gardner, outstanding play. I mean, that's all you can do. Gets up and throws, but really no chances. Miller had too good of a jump out of the box. He's smelling 2 the whole way. Gardner does it just about as well as you can. A little bit off on the throw, but that's good base running on Miller's part, especially the cut in the first base part. No wasted motion there.
It's Miller's 38th extra base hit of the year. Carlos Correa, the only American League shortstop with more. Now Evan Longoria is going to have one himself. Miller will score. Longoria's at second with an RBI double, and it's 4-0 Rays. Hell yeah.
Yeah, that'll send you right to the horn if you're a pitching coach, and Rothschild certainly doing that, and got to buy some time. This is some quick damage. Bang, bang. 1 run in. Evan Longoria trading places at second base with Miller.
So after an encouraging 4th inning, Ivan Nova back in the struggle zone, and Chad Green gets back up.
He should get ready quickly because he was up the previous inning as well. So I would expect a short leash right here on Nova from Girardi.
Dickerson waves and misses. Now, Corey Dickerson has a very long backswing. And watch, he almost hits McCann in the head. And you could tell Brian McCann is aware of it because earlier this year, Dickerson hit McCann 3 times in one game with his backswing. Let's go back to April, and here are 3 separate instances of this. Whack. Bam. Plunk. Three times in one series.
That'll make you back up a little bit.
Yeah.
See, McCann actually is a little deeper than he normally is from that shot.
Yeah, he's sitting much deeper, very aware of it. The 0-2. Pop to left. Gardner for the first out. Hey, tomorrow on Yes, the Yankees take on the Rays in another showdown here in St. Pete. Coverage starts at 5:30 with the Chevy pregame. Then we're back to call all the action right here on Yes and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. It's a special start time tomorrow. So 5:30 with the pre, and first pitch will be shortly after 6 o'clock.
I'll see you at 7. You can handle the first hour?
You're just a creature of habit, and that's the way things go. So that's a page out of Phil Rizzuto's book, but it's the opposite. Instead of leaving early, you're coming late.
Yeah, I'll pick you up after the first 3 innings.
As long as you're ready to bring it. I'm expecting you to come out throwing 97 if you do that. Steve Pearce walked in the 3rd, struck out in the 1st. Now, obviously, that at bat from Corey Dickerson was not a productive out. It shouldn't be a surprise with the Rays. They have the fewest productive outs in all of baseball. And the Yankees actually among the leaders in baseball in that statistic. Headley stops it, retrieves it, tosses, not in time. Another nice pick by Mark Teixeira, but Pierce able to beat it out for the infield single, you would think.
Well, good play by Headley just to get to another one. The key is just hits off his knee and gets away from him just a bit. And that was all that was needed, just to give Pierce enough time to get through the bag.
And he did indeed beat it. It was rightfully called a hit, and that is going to do it for Ivan Nova. A showcase start for Nova before the trade deadline. Has some words for Laz Diaz, it appears, on his way out, trailing 4-0. Thankful departure from the game. Had some words for Laz Diaz. And Laz Diaz went back at him. And then Nova fired the glove in disgust. And Joe Girardi actually went over then and talked to Laz Diaz. Maybe feeling like Laz was provoking Nova a little bit as he was walking away after Nova had initiated the conversation. Take a look at Joe Girardi coming out. And you could see Joe said, yeah, but he walked away.
I think that's a pretty good read on your part, Ryan. Not a lip reader, but certainly that was what Girardi was alluding to, is let it lie, let him walk in. And umpires are human too. I mean, they don't like to be shown up or be criticized, especially from a pitcher that's out of the game walking to the dugout.
Yeah, and I think that was part of what Laz was saying, was we'll come over here and say it. And Joe Girardi didn't like that.
Obviously a lot of frustration for Ivan Nova, a lot of pressure, a lot of rumors. That may be the last time we see him in that Yankee uniform. It's quite possible that there will be some sort of trade before he gets a chance to pitch again as a Yankee.
Kiermaier did not go around. Well, the Yankees did make the Verizon call to the bullpen to bring on Chad Green, who could be the replacement for Nova should he be dealt before Monday in the Yankees rotation. Soft roller foul. You know, Nova was talking about the trade rumors and wanting to stay, David, and also said his family is all Yankee fans. And he has tried to not read anything. But it's his family who ends up telling him what they're reading or what they're hearing. And so it's been hard for him to insulate himself from the questions and rumors.
Yeah, it's just too easy to find out information nowadays. See on the season from Chad Green, only 3 walks and 22 strikeouts in 20 innings.
And that is ball 4. Kiermaier just held up. That'll load the bases for Steven Souza Jr.
Right fielder, Steven Souza Jr.
Souza Jr. 0 for 2. Takes ball 1. Green has done a nice job in his 2 relief appearances since his last start. He's thrown 4 2/3 shutout innings. We've seen him hump up the velocity a little more. And a big spot here. Trying to hold the game at 4-0, delivers 94-mile-an-hour strike 1.
Green was clearly the best pitcher in the International League for the first half of the season. Across the board, his numbers well under 2 with his ERA.
Swing and a miss, 95 from Green.
It's an above-average velocity-wise fastball that he possesses, and also has shown a real aptitude to learn new pitches. Very coachable. The Yankees certainly want to see a lot more of him down the stretch here.
Here's the 1-2. That is drilled. Deep left. Gardner back. Leaps. Makes the catch. Tagging from third. And scoring is Longoria. It's a loud sac fly for Steven Souza Jr. And a 5-0 Rays lead as we take a look back pitch by pitch of this at bat.
Yeah, on Souza Jr., bases loaded. Fastball misses in 94. And then a good one on the outside corner. Mid-90s. Fastball right on by, middle in. Stays with it. A little bit up and in. One right after the other. I guess he felt with the bases loaded he didn't want to try to throw a curve or a slider, but Souza gets to that last one, and Gardner picks him up with a nice play in left field.
So the walk and then a sac fly since Green entered. And now 2 on, 2 out for Brandon Guyer. That run will be charged to Ivan Nova. The 5th on his ledger. Two 2-0 on Guyer. You know, we were talking about Guyer's 23 hit by pitches. The next closest player is Adam Eaton in the AL. He only has 12. He's lapping the field. And he's on pace for 37, which would be the highest in baseball since Ron Hunt's record 50 in 1971. That's in, and Guyer walks. He avoided the hit by pitch, but he walks on 4 pitches. And now the base is reloaded for Luke Maile.
Yeah, that'll bring a visit from Larry Rothschild. And come in and you've got 14 pitches and 9 of them are balls. That's not the start you were looking for out of the pen.
MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, delivers everything you've come to expect and more. Watch every out-of-market game live in HD on over 400 supported devices. Includes a free subscription to App Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. Well, here's Luke Maile, the young catcher. With the bases loaded, ahead 1-0 now. Rays catchers 0 for 11 this season with the bases loaded. The 1-0. That is crushed deep left, but foul. And onto the catwalk and down onto the field.
Still foul.
When you're playing arena baseball, it's important to clarify those things. Because there are circumstances where different speakers are in play and catwalks. But a foul ball here is a dead ball when it hits one of the catwalks. The 1-1. Strike. 1-2. The 1-2. Just held up. 2-2. Already a 5-0 hole for the Yankees. And Green trying to hold it right here. Swing and a miss. Green got him to end the threat. But the Rays add 2 more runs and they chase Ivan Nova. It's 5-0 Tampa Bay.
Maybe his last start as a Yankee in the first inning. Home run, fastball. Again, Dickerson up and in, home run. Cuts him off at the pass. And then into the gap for Miller with a triple and a double. So damage as Longoria is going to finish it up with a booming double to left field. So when Nova gave him up, it was damage. It was either homers or doubles and one triple mixed in there.
And And that's why it's 5-0 Rays as Brett Gardner begins the top of the 6th. Nova had been on a good run of late. His last 4 starts was 2-0 with a 2.66 ERA. But he was not getting the low strike nor locating as well low as he had in those previous 4 starts.
Yeah, he looked like he really got flustered by home plate umpire Laz Diaz, as we saw and noted, and when he walked off the mound, had a little argument. But once again, no real consistency to his curveball, and those are the times when he sinks or swims. And we saw 4 or 5 plays by Brian McCann on curveballs that were in the other batter's box and were incredible plays by McCann just to block them or scoop them.
The 1-2. Meanwhile, Odorizzi has retired 9 straight Yankees, and he has been in control. 81 pitches. 2-2.
You could see with Odorizzi's style, you know, you talk about horses for courses. In a big ballpark on a contender, his style really fits.
Grounded up the middle and through. Gardner is on to lead off the 6th.
Gardy right back up the box on this changeup, as you see, just kind of pokes it, stays back, and finds the hole right back up the middle. You know, Gardner, one of the few hitters that doesn't regularly get shifted on, because he will hit ground balls the other way more often than not.
All right, so often in today's game, a ground ball up the middle, which used to immediately signal base hit, ends up right in square center of a defender. Ellsbury smokes that to right. Diving catch made by Souza. First down.
Well, when the Yankees have hit line drives off of Odorizzi tonight, they've been at him. There's a couple of plays by Souza in right field, and one off of Mark Teixeira's bat. This time Ellsbury with no luck. That's when you know you're having a good night on the mound, Ryan. Even when you make a mistake and they're hit hard, they're still outs. That gives you more confidence. You feel like, okay, I got away with one.
There's Beltran. Singled in the first. Popped down the third. Beltran was asked if, you know, he's concerned, bothered at all by trade rumors himself, and he said, no, 20 years ago maybe, but he's been through this. Beltran hits it in the air to center. Kiermaier is there. 2 out.
You know, an underrated part of Beltran's package is, you know, everybody talks about, you know, the bat and needs to be a DH, the outfield defensive metrics really down on Beltran's defense, but the leadership that he brings to the table. Universally one of the most respected players in the big leagues is Carlos Beltran, like a second hitting coach. So that's how you build chemistry with guys like that around.
Well, Starlin Castro recently had his hot streak. Beltran was the first person he mentioned to give credit to. Something Beltran picked up with his hands. And there's many a time when you go into that Yankee clubhouse, you see Carlos Beltran with a bat, showing some young hitter something in a make-believe batter's box in front of his locker.
You can clearly see a future for Beltran in this game on any level, whether he wanted to coach, manage, or go into the front office. A true leader, one of the guys that teaches young players constantly, as you said, Ryan. Just a great influence to have in a clubhouse anywhere.
after that catch, look at Kiermaier spinning the glove like he's a Harlem Globetrotter. Takes some skill. A 1-2. Big hack from Brian McCann. Can only do that with a platinum glove, not even a gold glove. Odorizzi delivers. Popped up. Miller is there to put it away for the final out of the 6th. Kiermaier and the Rays spin their way to the bottom of the 6th. Brought to you in part by People's United Bank NA. Thumbs up for quick balance with Touch ID on your mobile phone. And by your Tri-Honda dealers. Hurry to your local Tri-Honda dealer for great deals on the 2016 models. Ryan Rucco, David Cohn, Meredith Morakovitz with you on this Friday night series opener between the Yankees and the Rays. Bottom of the 6th inning. And Chad Green does not get the call, much to the dismay of Brian McCann. Ball 1. Tampa Bay with the 5-0 lead on the Yankees. Logan Forsythe started this game with a solo home run off of Ivan Nova. All told, Nova allowed 5 runs in 4 1/3 innings. Some heat there, 2-1. Smack to center. Ellsbury catches up with it. 1 out.
Number 13, Brad Miller.
That's one you take when you're on the mound. You know, you give up a bullet, just a rocket to center. Act like, okay, that's what I was trying to do. Okay, 1 out.
There have been a few hard hit balls off of Chad Green since he's entered.
Makes up for those bloopers that fall in.
That's right. All evens out, right?
Not exactly, but sometimes.
Depends who you ask. 0-1 on Brad Miller, who has tripled and doubled. One and one.
It really has been about extra base hits for Brad Miller this year. That was his 5th triple on the year. Earlier in the game, 15 home runs.
And his 15 home runs tied a Rays shortstop record already with Julio Lugo and Asdrubal Cabrera. So he has plenty of time to top that mark. Only had 30 home runs in his first 3 years total with Seattle.
It's always been a free swinger. He's not looking for a walk.
And he's not getting one here. Strike 3. Second strikeout for Green. And that'll bring up Evan Longoria. He's walked, doubled, driven in a run, and scored.
One thing you notice about Green and his delivery, Ryan, is that, it's easy gas. That last fastball on the scoreboard here is 97. A lot of times when scouts evaluate deliveries from pitchers, is he a maximum effort guy? How much effort does it take for him to generate that kind of velocity? And in Green's case, very good delivery.
Longoria ripped it right to Teixeira, but Mark able to glove it and duck for cover at the same time. Inning over. To the 7th we go as Teixeira takes home the 3rd out. Rays a 5-0 lead on the Yankees. That's a good picture to take there. You got to get the lens through the fence first, though. I mean, she has the professional camera. Okay, that's the professional camera. I don't think they let you take that lens on an airplane. Teixeira hammers that foul. Whoa. Went ricocheting almost back down onto the field. Jake Odorizzi already at 95 pitches. And 96 is strike 2 to Teixeira. Action in the Tampa Bay bullpen. Kevin Jepsen. Swing and a miss. Teixeira down on that splitter slash changeup that is called the Thing by Jake Odorizzi. Tomorrow's starting pitchers brought to you by Fios. Fios is not cable. We're wired differently. Visit getfios.com. Nathan Eovaldi has picked things up of late for the Yankees. We'll go up against lefty Drew Smiley, having a tough year. Remember, the coverage starts at 5:30 with the first pitch shortly after 6 here on Yes. It's always interesting when guys nickname their pitches, and he and Alex Cobb came up with that for what often people refer to as a changeup, but really Jake Odorizzi claims is a splitter.
Yeah, it's kind of the Vulcan grip. You know, it's not a normal grip on a splitter, but it might as well be a splitter. It has that kind of action where it's tumbling, sinking, and late. And it throws it in the mid-80s.
Gregorius with a single to center. He's on with one out. Five Yankee hits. They are all singles. Castro 0 for 2. Strikeout and a ground out. He has cooled off. He was in that hot streak where he hit 362 over a 15-game span, but now 3 for his last 21. Odorizzi over the 100-pitch mark now. His high on the season, 120 back on June 3rd. And ahead of Castro, 0-2. The 0-2 could be 2. Miller himself didn't get him. And Castro reaches on the fielder's choice.
Castro pounds it straight down. The second hop is what gave him enough time to beat this throw out. 2 big hops. Too much time for Miller to turn it.
Dane. Xavier Cedeno and Kevin Jepsen getting ready. Headley lines that to center. Kiermaier has to play it on a hop. Second single to center of the inning for the Yankees, and they have 2 on with 2 out. Rob Refsnyder due up. Kevin Cash is going to come and get the ball from Jake Odorizzi. Kevin Jepsen will come on. A sparkling performance from Odorizzi. He leaves with a 5-0 lead.
especially when he got in trouble, was able to make pitches there off of Teixeira. And then once again, actually McCann, Teixeira hits a snake out to Kiermaier in center field. And then goes to the changeup on Ellsbury here in the third with runners in scoring position. Once again, when Yankees did get a chance, he made really good pitches. Got Beltran to pop out there to also end another threat that the Yankees did manage against him. And you see on the day, 6 2/3, no walks, 5 strikeouts.
And if that was an audition for prospective buyers, they are going to be salivating at the performance from Jake Odorizzi. Kevin Jepsen relieves Odorizzi. A lofty ERA, 5.77. And opponents batting .314 against him. Comes on with 2 on, 2 out, a 1-0 count to Refsnyder. 1-1. Refsnyder has an infield single in this game. You saw David document the chances the Yankees have had with runners in scoring position, 0 for 4. And it's the first time since the first that the Yankees have had 2 runners on. Refsnyder pokes that to right. Souza Jr. there to end the inning. The threat averted. To the bottom of the 7th we go. Tonight after the post game, catch the latest episode of The Hookup as Brandon Steiner teams up with Yankee greats Mariano Rivera and Goose Gossage to surprise 2 worthy organizations. That's tonight after the post game right here on Yes. Chad Green remains in there for the Yankees. His 2nd full inning of work after relieving Ivan Nova, and on the GMC scoreboard, the Rays a 5-0 lead on the Yankees. Yankees have won 4 of their last 5 series, all of those series against teams over 500. Skied to left center. Ellsbury near the track, just on it for the first out. And you can read those lips. I got it, I got it, I got it on Yes Mo, brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers.
One of the first lessons you learned, right?
That's
Back
right.
to Little League.
I used to have a coach who would tell me to say mine instead of I got it, though, because it saves time, which I thought was efficient. Maybe it's a screaming liner and you're converging and You've saved 2 words.
Coach was your daddy, also an English teacher, because I got it, really, you know, that's not proper English, right?
That's right. But I think you'd have to say, I'll have that.
Yes, I have it.
You want to play the game properly. Whoa, hey now. That's what happens when you have the bullpen on the field. Never know when a ball will go astray.
Now, bullpen catchers are not going to throw their body out there. Generally speaking, they're going to lay it and let it go right on by.
They usually are just mask and glove, right? I mean,
yeah, there's no chest protector on. He's got the shin guards and the mask.
He does, yeah.
But he's not. You see, no chest protector, so he's not going to go into block mode on anything in the dirt.
No.
He's going to just get out of the way.
He's also got his back to the field. Now, there's a ball boy who will protect him. You gotta have trust. The payoff from Green is fouled away. Of course, the ball boy has to determine whether or not he's even allowed to touch whatever ball's coming his way.
Yeah, and he's there, yeah, absolutely, to protect the bullpen catcher, obviously, because his back is to the action on the field. But I tell you one thing, if you ever want to know something about a team, talk to the bullpen catcher. Kind of the unsung guys that never get talked to, and they know all the dirt on everybody.
Pierce walks for the 2nd time tonight, is on for the 3rd.
His job right there is to protect the bullpen catcher and also the reliever warming up. That's why he's obviously standing right there with the glove.
At AT&T, they also have the bullpens out on the field. Wrigley as well.
It's good for the fans. If you're up close, you can really see and watch a major league pitcher warm up.
Chopped to second slowly. One play, it is made as Castro cuts down the lead runner. Good quick decision from Starlin Castro. And 2 gone in the 7th. Here's Souza Jr. Slammed a sac fly in the 5th. That took Brett Gardner up against the wall and left with the bases loaded.
You mentioned it, Ryan. This is an opportunity for Green to stay stretched out. So he's well over 40 pitches here, number 42 coming.
If the Yankees were to deal Nova, then he's in line to pitch on Nova's day.
Exactly, and I would anticipate Girardi letting him go. Ideally, you would think Girardi would like him to go ahead and finish this game.
Here goes the runner, throw down from McCann, and Castro dove in front of the bag to body it. A stolen base for Kiermaier, and he's in scoring position with 2 outs.
Decent job of holding the runner by Green, and McCann looked like he had a shot to get him there with the throw. Castro too far in front of the bag there, kind of late covering. Ideally, you'd want your glove right on the bag. The ball travels faster than you can catch it and reach. And Castro found himself out of position.
Now 2-1 on Souza Jr. Souza Jr. is a good example of not to be discouraged if you're small when you start high school. He was 5'2", 140 pounds as a freshman in high school. He is now 6'4", 225. That's a how you like me now.
Exactly.
Now I was 5'2", 140 as a freshman, but I stopped at 5'10", 160, David. That
with heels.
Swing and a miss. Souza Jr. is down on strikes. Green working nicely in the 6th and 7th. We go to the 8th. On dealer. The Rays struck with 2 homers in the first off of Von Nova. Tacked on runs throughout. He left after 4 1/3, allowing all 5 runs. Jake Odorizzi was brilliant. 6 2/3 innings. Did not allow a run. Struck out 5. Did not walk a batter. And the Rays holding a 5-0 lead here in the top of the 8th inning. Chad Green chatting with tomorrow's starter, Nathan Eovaldi. That game first pitch shortly after 6 o'clock here on Yes, with the pregame at 5:30. On the Hyundai scoreboard, Tampa Bay the 5-0 lead. Dylan Floro, the new pitcher for Tampa Bay, has allowed 13 hits in his 8 2/3 innings. Rays got a big boost to their bullpen today. They got Brad Boxberger back, their closer from last year. Led the league in saves and has only appeared in 1 game this year because of injuries. But Alex Colomé has done such a good job closing that Boxberger is, for the time being, going to set him up.
Certainly, as you're right, it adds to the overall depth. I think we've evolved. I think the Yankees are a prime example of that. You know, in the recent trade of Chapman, but Miller's willingness to pitch anywhere. Betances being able to be used in the sixth could probably close for a lot of teams. And the set roles are kind of starting to change. A lot of games are won and lost in high leverage situations in the 7th or 8th inning, and more major league managers are opting to use their better relievers in key spots other than the 9th inning. Being able to bring Dellin Betances in the 6th and 7th inning has been a huge upside for the Yankees.
Hey, tomorrow on Yes, don't miss a marquee soccer matchup as rookie sensation Jack Harrison leads first place New York City FC into battle against former U.S. national team goalkeeper Tim Howard and the Colorado Rapids. Watch all the action live beginning at 3 right here on Yes. David, I also feel like there's an evolution in the understanding of the value of those pitchers so that they don't worry about whether or not they have the save number getting jacked up in their column. They know, Dellin Betances knows that his value to the team is seen beyond that particular statistic, and at some point the compensation for that comes.
Yes, and it is coming without a doubt. We've seen several setup relievers get big contracts in the offseason. You know that organizations understand value is value. And
high chopper. Forsythe, the flip for one. Not close at first, but the lead runner retired.
Number 36, Carlos Beltran.
There's Beltran. In his 3 at-bats has seen just 5 pitches tonight. Does have a single. The Yankees do not have an extra base hit tonight. Oh, 1.
Now, the times they have hit line drives or squared up the barrel of the bat on the baseball, it's been right at one of these Rays defenders. But give Odorizzi credit. He really was in control the entire time he was in there.
Entering this game, Rays starters had pitched to a 2.26 ERA over their last 11 games, and Odorizzi dropped that. Beltran flies it to center. Kiermaier in a step, 2 down. There's Brian McCann, who came in with some juicy numbers against Jake Odorizzi, but went 0 for 3 against him with a couple of strikeouts tonight. McCann facing a shift again with Forsythe, the second baseman, way out in right field. And McCann goes the other way. A solid single to left. 2 on with 2 outs in the 8th.
Well, we've seen McCann do more and more of this, especially pitches out over the plate. You're down by 5 runs, you need base runners. I mean, it'd be nice to hit a 2-run home run. Floro's got a sinking fastball running away from him, so McCann clearly looking to go that way and gets it done.
Jim Hickey, a longtime pitching coach, will walk to the mound. Have a discussion with Floro and company. As Mark Teixeira gets ready to step in. Xavier Cedeno, the lefty, back up and throwing, was up last inning. Rays bullpen has really struggled this year. They have the 5th worst pen ERA, 4.59. Nice lengthy meeting.
So much for the speed up rules, right? Used to be a pitching coach would have to trot, you know, mix in a trot. You're not the manager. You have to jog back and forth to the mound. Only the manager can walk back and forth like that.
Mark Teixeira takes strike one. Teixeira hit one of those well-struck balls David was talking about that was right at somebody, a knuckleball with 2 on and 2 out in the first that Kevin Kiermaier was able to hang with. The 0-1. 1-1. Down 2-1.
Teixeira has one thing on his mind right now, as should he, in this count. One swing of the bat to get your team back in the game.
The Yankees looking for a spark. They don't have an extra base hit tonight. Teixeira beats the shift, grounds one through the left side. Ellsbury will score, and the Yankees are on the board. It's 5-1. This replay brought to you by New York Presbyterian, the official hospital of the New York Yankees. Amazing things are happening here. David, we talked about Mark Teixeira did this a little in Houston and now today in Tampa.
Yes, and Floro's the type of pitcher that you probably need to do this on because he's got tremendous movement running away from left-handed hitters. And
Floro will depart. The Yankees threatening with 2 outs here in the 8th.
with the Mets before addiction derailed his promising career. Wednesday on a revealing new center stage with Michael Kay. Dwight Doc Gooden opens up about his rise to fame and his fall from grace. Premieres Wednesday at 11 only on Yes, presented by your Tri-State Land Rover retailers.
Should be a good one.
Doc is an open book. He will tell you what he feels and what he's been through, and that is a must-watch.
So here's Xavier Cedeno with the Yankees threatening. On the board now, first and second, 2 out. And Didi Gregorius check swings out of protection on strike 1. Lefties batting just 183 this year against Cedeno.
You can see how much Gregorius hangs in there on lefties, refusing to give an inch, which is part of the reason for his success against left-handed batters this year, or left-handed pitchers rather.
The 0-1 is high. Gregorius has been outstanding against lefties this year, hitting .360 and .867 OPS. Anything over 800 considered good, so that is very good. Gregorius ahead 2-1. Cedeno delivers. Ball 3. It is 3-1 on Gregorius. With McCann on second, Teixeira on first. A run already in here in the 8th. And Starlin Castro on deck.
Representing the tying run is Castro at this point, so Gregorius in the driver's seat here on a 3-1 count.
Erasmo Ramirez warming. Gregorius flips that into shallow center, and Kiermaier will trot to it. Inning over. The Yankees push one across, but that's all. Rays still lead 5-1 as we head to the bottom of the 8th. Deposits just 1 run on the Hyundai scoreboard. The Rays lead at 5-1. Chad Green still working for the Yankees. He relieved Ivan Nova. Has done a nice job. Blows a fastball by Brandon Guyer. Guyer has been hit by a pitch and walked. Also grounded out to short. Oh, 0-2. David, how hard is it for a pitcher who has been starting to then go a few weeks throwing, let's say, 25 to 40 pitches in an outing, because Green has been coming on in relief for multiple innings, not just one, and then go back to throwing 90, 100?
Yeah, I don't think the whole stretched out thing is all that important, or all that it's made out to be, rather. I think the part that's more difficult is up and down. We saw Green get up and warm up and get ready to come into the game, and then sit down earlier when Nova was struggling, and then warm up again. So I think that part, the warming up part, is probably the trickiest thing.
Blows a fastball by Geyer, tips it into the glove, strike 3.
Green has progressively gotten better throughout this particular outing. Kind of struggled early with his control, but since that point, really starting to zero in, and that's that lively fastball that Green possesses, as you see. Above the belt, off the bat. Good camera work there on Yesbo, brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers.
And the 4th strikeout for Chad Green.
I think it's very easy to get stretched back out once you've already been stretched out, as Green has in AAA, and then his couple of starts in the big leagues. You can inch back up a lot quicker, I think, from 50 to 75, and then within 2 or 3 starts, you're right back on pace again.
Brian McCann is going to head to the Yankee dugout.
This whole stretched out thing, Ryan, I think is so overrated in my mind. I think you learn so much more on the big league level than you would staying stretched out in AAA. I'd much rather see more pitchers like Green get up here and learn and pitch 2 or 3 innings at a time, or 4 innings like tonight. He's getting plenty of work. You see pitch number 55 coming here.
You spent time in the bullpen in the beginning of your career.
I just think you learn more on the big league level on how to get hitters out. You test your skills more. The big league coaches can see you and find out about you. So I very much like the Yankee bullpen now. I think for the first time all year, you got Severino down in the bullpen. You've got this guy, Chad Green. I think right now that might be, maybe the best arms in the organization down there right now.
Broken bat to third. Headley across in time for the 2nd out. Such versatility when you have guys like Warren and Green and Severino who can give you multiple innings, or maybe gas it up for one.
Absolutely. I mean, Severino's going to learn more up here, and the success that he's had briefly coming back has been good, but that's going to do more for his confidence than any AAA start possibly could.
I love it when the pitchers we show eat their gloves when we show them. Ideal timing. Maybe he's hiding some Skittles in there.
Chomping at the bit.
Grounded hard and past the diving Headley into left field for a base hit. Logan Forsythe with his 2nd hit of the game.
Forsythe is so quick on the inner half of the plate. Headley gives it a good effort. But anything middle in, that's probably inner half to Forsythe right there. It looked like it was a cutter. And he's gonna put a good swing on it. That's his strength on the inner half.
Rays hadn't had any luck getting a ball by Headley tonight. That one just passed his full body length dive. Outside ball 1.
I'll put it another way, Ryan. If I was in the Yankee clubhouse, if I was an active player, I would want the best players here down this stretch run to give us the best opportunity to make a run at the wild card or potentially the division. And I think for the first time all year, the Yankees finally have the best arms here. With Severino and Green, I think you could probably put Luis Sessa in that category, and we'll probably see him at some point. But even though you've lost Chapman, You've got Warren, Severino, Green. You've got your best arms down there that you have in your organization right now. And that would make me feel good if I was active in that clubhouse. That's what I'd want.
Especially that underbelly of the bullpen has been a soft spot this year.
It has cost them some games, without a doubt.
And Severino looked good the other night. A little more depth to the slider.
He really did. Some of the best sliders we've seen him throw yet.
Weak hack there from Miller. Severino also looks like he's put on some muscle from last year. To find out whether or not that's just optical or true, but
still developing without a doubt in his early 20s, still maturing.
And Meredith tells us he did in the offseason. Miller has scored twice, doubled and tripled. Andy Romero, Erasmo Ramirez, both warming.
Just to kind of put a bow on that point I'm trying to make this whole inning about best arms and young pitchers and relievers and starters and leave them in AAA. Pitchers don't go that deep into the games anymore. They average 5 or 6 innings on average. So the whole stretched out thing becomes even more overrated in my mind. And
even more important to have those best arms. Swing and a miss. Chad Green showing his off. 5th strikeout. And he's done an outstanding job in relief tonight. Last chance for the Yanks. WB Mason post-game as Bob Lorenz and Jack Curry are back in the studio with highlights and analysis. Meredith Marakovitz has the clubhouse reaction plus scores and up-to-the-minute standings around the league. That's all coming up immediately following the game only on Yes. Well, last licks for the Yankees. Trailing 5-1 and Erasmo Ramirez into the game. He has also been the subject of many trade rumors. Rolled slowly, foul. It's a lot of decisions for a reliever. 7 and 8.
Well, he's a hybrid. He started some games too. He can do both, which is why he has so much value. A lot of teams that are interested in him right now would throw him right in the rotation.
Started 27 games last year, won this year in his 40 appearances. But right, David, and to your point about what you were talking about last inning being stretched out, teams have said they're not worried about him being stretched out or not. They would use him as a starter. Chad Green threw plenty of pitches tonight in relief of Ivan Nova. Didn't allow a run, other than an inherited run. One and two.
Green was a little shaky with his command out of his 67 pitches, 35 strikes, 32 balls, but finished on a good note. Definitely got into a groove after the first go round and remains stretched out now. The dreaded stretched out term. So.
By the way, for those wondering, Toronto topped Baltimore 6-5 tonight. And obviously, either way, a team the Yankees are chasing loses in that game. But I would think at this point you prefer the wild card team to lose rather than the division leader.
Yeah, it's hard to predict, you know, that you have this much time left.
Slowly to short, Miller. One down. Tigers leading the Astros 13-6 in the 8th inning. They're a team ahead of the Yankees in the wild card race, and the Red Sox and Angels just underway in Anaheim. Of course, Bob the Reds and Jack Curry will have updates on all of that for you in the post game. And with Chase Headley up, Alex Rodriguez is now in the on-deck circle. To hit for Rob Refsnyder. So even though it's a righty on the hill, maybe eyes towards the next couple of games, give Alex an at-bat.
Girardi had a shot in Refsnyder's previous at-bat with a couple of runners on, but opted to save him for the 9th inning.
And Refsnyder flew out to right. Three and one on Headley. Yankees threatened in the 8th. Mark Teixeira beat the shift with an RBI single with 2 outs, and Yankees had 2 on for Didi Gregorius, but he flew out to center to end the threat. Yankees with 8 hits, all singles. Headley loops that into left. And another single. Chase Headley's second of the game. And that'll send up Alex Rodriguez. No matter where you are, he always draws a reaction. Alex 2 for 23 since the All-Star break. Oh, and 1. It's a good thing he has that permanent flash on. The 0-1. 1-1. Is the flashlight necessary to take the pictures inside the Trop? Or maybe it's just a video and it happens automatically. We'll have to ask them after the game. The 1-1. Grounded hard and through into left field. A base hit for Alex Rodriguez.
Well, he still has bat speed. You can see Alex, struggling for playing time. You see a little show of emotion right there. And clearly, Alex is not happy with the position he finds himself in right now, but has refused to complain. But you can tell a little show of emotion there. He wants to play.
And Alex's hit is going to force Tampa Bay to turn to their closer. Alex Colomé coming on. The Yankees with 2 on, 1 out, not done yet. An outstanding start from Jake Odorizzi. They have now gone to their 5th reliever. It's their closer, Alex Colomé. Colomé's had a great year. Just recently blew his first save of the season, but the numbers outstanding. Now this is a save situation with the tying run on deck. So after a single from Headley and a single from A-Rod pinch hitting, Brett Gardner, the leadoff batter, up to try and continue this 9th inning momentum from the Yankee offense. 10 hits in this game, all of them singles. Colomé deals. Strike 1. David, if nothing else, maybe Alex feels good about himself after that hit going into a potential start tomorrow or Sunday, and you force the Rays to use their closer.
Excellent points, and I would anticipate Alex probably having a good chance to be in that lineup tomorrow.
1-1.
Modern day game, right? You got 8 guys down in the bullpen, 5 of them have been used in a 5-1 game.
That's right. Gardner grounds that hard to short. It could end it. 6-4-3. Gardner beats it, and the game continues. And Gardner might have pulled up a little lame there after he crossed first.
Get another look at the end. Not only the play, where he's clearly safe. A little grimace there. I mean, that is tailor-made. That just shows you the speed of Gardner. I mean, if ever there was a double play ball, that was it. Gardner still beat it out.
You can see he still looks a little exasperated. But he beat it out to keep things alive. 2 outs now for Jacoby Ellsbury with runners on the corners and 2 down. Carlos Beltran is on deck. Ellsbury rips that just foul wide of first. Steve Pearce not holding on Brett Gardner. Going to let him take second. That run is immaterial. Driven in the air to center. Kiermaier racing back, has room, game over. Ellsbury gave it a ride, but Colomé locks down a 5-1 Rays win, and the Yankees drop the opener of the final series before the trade deadline. Let's